have you ever been told that people are not always what they seem to be? Or how you never finish getting to know someone? Well, that was Grandma's favorite saying. Nana, as I used to call her, used to love giving me advice, even when I didn't ask for it. She was not shy at all to tell me what she thought. Although, like every older person, Grandma used to think she was always right. Therefore, if she said something, she expected me to do it, even when it was not fair or completely irrational. Growing up, it was just the two of us, so Grandma always looked after me. And when I was little, I always listened to her, but as I got older, I understood it was okay to make my own decisions. Particularly when I noticed Grandma didn't like any of my friends, but that's okay. I understood that for some older people, it was harder to understand new concepts and new trends. One thing about me is that it always took me more time than your average guy to do certain things. For example, having a girlfriend. I didn't have my first girlfriend until I was 19 years old. Grandma really loved my girlfriend, Stephanie, but the truth is that I was never really into her. I was into another girl named Celeste Schmidt. She was the total opposite of Stephanie. Celeste was beautiful, sexy, outgoing, and slightly a rebel, which I kinda liked. She sometimes visited our sandwich shop, and Grandma knew I liked her, but constantly told me she wasn't worth it. She also used to say that there was something dark about Celeste. I never paid attention to those claims since Grandma was always criticizing, everything. Now, Celeste sometimes went to our shop with her friends, and most of them were pretty weird, to be honest. Even though they constantly used to hang around the students' area, and they were of a younger age, I was pretty sure they didn't go to college or even had jobs. I never saw them with books or anything, but I constantly saw them with people that went to the local college. And I tried to figure out what Celeste and her friends did. They looked like good-for-nothings, yet they always wore pricey clothes and had cool things, like nice cars. They constantly spoke about parties. I figured out that there were two options. They all must come from wealthy families, or they must be some sort of influencers. Those kind of people who get paid for putting bikini pictures on Instagram and talking about products. Now, last year, my grandma got very sick, unfortunately. By the time autumn hit, she had passed away. It was a crushing time for me, and I had lost the only person I had left in my family. No matter how strong and cold I normally was, her death hit me very hard. Grandma died at the beginning of October, and I couldn't bring myself to work for about 2 weeks, but I had to. After all, the business was my only source of income. My girl Stephanie was there for me for a while as I was dealing with Grandma's death. And she was great, but no matter what she did, I just couldn't love her as she deserved to be loved. And every day I wished the girl I genuinely liked would pay attention to me, but I thought it would never happen. I thought I was way out of her league. Until one day she came to the shop. And this time she was alone. Her friends were just hanging outside. She ordered the usual sandwich and waited by the counter while she was on her phone. After a minute or two, I heard her saying, "Shit." And I could tell this happened after her phone turned off. Maybe it was her batteries. Although I didn't know Celeste very well, I kind of figured that she was the kind of girl who just couldn't stay anywhere. She always needed to do something or talk about something. She sometimes would have small talk, but the conversation went nowhere. Mainly my fault, but it wasn't this time. She told me she had noticed we were close for a couple of weeks, but then explained it was because my grandma had died. Her eyes were wide open after I told her that. I've never seen that expression on her face before. She said she was sorry, and then began to ask me about my life. I was very impressed because she seemed interested. I've never seen her acting so kind and sensitive. She always presented herself as cold and superficial, but while we spoke about my grandma's death, she seemed so down to earth. I mean, hell, she even held my hand through the conversation and asked me if I was single. At that moment, I didn't care about being sincere. I finally had a chance with the girl I always wanted, so I said yes. She asked me if I had any plans for Halloween and then proceeded to invite me to a Halloween party. I asked her where the party would be. She told me not to worry. She said she would pick me up at the shop and take me there. Of course, I agreed. Later on that same day, I broke up with Stephanie. She couldn't understand why I was doing it, but I was honest and I told her I'd started seeing Celeste. Stephanie then said that even if we broke up, she didn't approve of Celeste. I mean, obviously, right? She said Celeste and her friends are constantly going to the college to speak to lonely students. She thought that was creepy, considering they didn't even go there. She said she believed Celeste was into something weird like drugs, but the truth is, I just didn't care. The girl was smoking hot, and I just wanted something different for a change. I told Stephanie to go away and ignored her messages for the next 2 days. Now, when Halloween came, I was so excited. I had many doubts about this Halloween party, but Celeste just kept telling me it was a surprise. I had no idea where the party was, who was going, or anything. I just knew I had to be ready by 4 p.m. As expected, Celeste picked me up at 4 o'clock at the restaurant. She was looking very nice, more beautiful than ever with a black leather dress. She told me to get into the car. It was a car that I've never seen them drive before. When I got into the car, there were other people in it. Some of them I recognized as her friends. And curiously, they were also wearing black leather clothes. There was somebody else in the car who was not wearing leather. He was another guy that looked similar to me. He looked plain and out of place. He was nice though. He was the only other person that said hi when I got into the car. Apart from me, this guy and Celeste, there was another girl and a guy driving. Being in the car was rather awkward. I could tell some of the people kept texting while looking at me. I couldn't help but feeling self-conscious, thinking maybe they were making fun of me through text or something. Some of the people in the car were talking among themselves, but they were not really trying to engage me or the other guy. While I kept looking at Celeste and her friends, I noticed something. All of them looked as if they were wearing uniforms, strange leather, sexy uniforms, as if they were ready to go to a BDSM party or something. And in an attempt to break the silence, I asked them if those were their Halloween costumes. I could tell some of them had a chuckle, including Celeste. "Oh, I guess you could call them our uniforms," she said. And after that, her friends laughed even more. Now, me and the other guy who was there just looked at each other very confused. "Uniforms, huh? What sort of jobs do you have?" the guy asked them. Celeste's friend, who was sitting next to the guy, I assumed she was his date, answered, "Oh, we sometimes have to be in front of a camera. We sort of present things to our audience." "Oh, would you present to your audience some sort of product?" the guy asked her. And Celeste's friend was about to answer when Celeste interrupted her. "You'll be able to see tonight. We'll be live streaming," Celeste said. After speaking about that, there was complete silence. Though I didn't notice it until then, but we were leaving the city. I asked them where we were going, and they said we were going to a house in the woods. I remember saying it seemed a little too far for a party, and the guy who drove simply said that the further the better, because we could be loud without people annoying us. can't say I had been in many parties before, but I was excited. I should have been a little more careful since I was with strangers, but I just wanted them to like me. While we were in the car, I got a message from my ex. She was wondering where I was. I replied saying I was at a party with Celeste. She answered pretty worried, asking me where the party was, and I just ignored her. A few minutes later, we got to our destination, a beautiful house in the middle of nowhere. I was the first one to get out of the car, and in the meantime, I took a picture of the front of the house. I sent that picture to Stephanie, telling her I'd be there for the rest of the night. I also told her not to worry. We're not together anymore. She doesn't have to worry about me. We headed towards the house where there was in fact a party going on. There was around 20 people or so. They all looked young. However, everybody in the party looked and acted very strange. I simply assumed perhaps they had consumed lots of alcohol already. The house was pretty weird for a house in the middle of the woods. It wasn't what I was expecting. It was very modern and minimalistic. There was loud music on. It was so loud that I couldn't even hear anybody talk. Celeste left me alone for a second, and in the meantime, her and her other 2 friends that were in the car went to speak to another guy who was also dressed in leather. I was trying to pay attention to what they were saying, but I was interrupted by the other guy who was also in the car with us. He asked me what my name was, and we introduced each other. He also asked me if I was dating Celeste. I explained to him this was actually the first time we went out. She had asked Nia. The other guy, Clark his name was, he told me it was also the first time that Bianca, Celeste's friend, the girl that was sitting next to him, asked him out. I asked him where they knew each other from, and he said that he normally repaired her car. I asked him where he worked, and he told me that he was self-employed. Now I was digging a bit more into Clark's life. I found out that he lived alone. Started making me feel very uneasy. Grandma's old advice started running through my head. I had trusted people too easily. I immediately grabbed my phone and sent a message to Stephanie. You were right. I think there's something weird about Celeste, I said. Unfortunately, before I got the chance to say anything else, one dude wearing leather came to us. However, he was wearing a mask that covered everything but his eyes and mouth. He told us to follow him to the 2nd floor, and I asked him where we were going. He then said we were going to the VIP section where the girls were waiting. I really wanted to refuse, but I didn't want to cause any trouble. So, the 3 of us went up the stairs, but we got to the 2nd floor. I was about to enter a room when the dude asked us for our phones. We asked why he needed them, and he said that we were about to see the girls live at their job, and it was just preventing people from recording them. Clark gave his phone away quite easily. I didn't want to, but the guy telling us to do so was huge. I mean, this dude was massive. He must have been at least 6'6", just packed full of muscle. I felt intimidated and gave him my phone. He then put our phone in some sort of fanny pack. Couldn't help but noticing there were at least 3 other phones in there already. We entered a room that was very big, and inside that room were 3 other people. An Asian dude, a blonde girl with lots of tattoos, and a skinny dude who seemed drunk as hell. They were sitting on a couch. The man with the mask told us to sit there. Clark and I did so. He then proceeded to take a picture of all of us. The skinny guy asked what the picture was for. The man simply replied, just to let people see our guests for tonight. I don't know why, but the way he said that made me feel very uneasy. After he took the picture, he left. And then we began to chat with the rest of the people in the room. The Asian guy and the blonde girl were equally concerned about how things were turning. I asked them if they had been there before, but they said they barely knew the people who invited them. They said that they thought they were going to a Halloween party as well. At that point, I think all of us were worried, except for the guy who was clearly too drunk to pay attention. There was nothing in that room but the couch, a window and 2 doors. We walked to the doors trying to open them, but both of them were locked, including the door where we came from. We started getting desperate. The blonde girl Ing began to cry. Then Clark pointed something out. There were 2 cameras in the room, both of them too high to reach. The Asian man began to talk to the cameras. "Why are you watching us? Please let us out." He begged, but none answered from anybody. It's like they wanted to see us go insane. And after about 30 minutes or so, 2 people came to the room. I recognized them perfectly, even though both of them were also wearing masks. One of them was Celeste, and the other was the dude who previously drove the car to get us here. Celeste then called Jackson, the drunk dude, and told him to go with her. We started asking why we were there, why we were being recorded, but Celeste and the dude just ignored our requests. Jackson walked freely towards them, told him not to go, but he didn't listen. We even tried to stop them from taking him away, but then a man showed us a taser gun, so we stepped back. They grabbed some keys and opened one of the doors in the room, not the one where we entered from, and went through with Jackson. Immediately after this happened, Bianca, also wearing a mask, entered the room. She entered with a laptop and placed it on the floor right in front of us. Now, none of us spoke to Bianca. I think we were all just too scared. And after placing the laptop on the floor, she just left once again. The laptop was on and it was streaming something. We could see Jackson and Celeste, which meant we could see the other room. However, the guy who had the taser gun wasn't there. But after a few minutes, he appeared with some company. He was carrying something in his hands, some sort of heavy chain. Might be thinking he was carrying some sort of giant dog or random animal, but no. It was difficult to identify what it was at first because the creature was hunched over, had its head down with its long hair covering his face. Then we saw it clearly. He was a human, or at least had the same structure as one, but his body and face was very hard on the eyes. He looked extremely mutated. His mouth was giant and looked like the mouth of a piranha rather than a human, with plenty of crooked teeth pointed out. His extremities were very long and out of proportion. His face was extremely long, and everything in it just looked wrong. He's wearing some sort of old ratted clothes. And I remember looking at this awful creature, feeling bad for him. But then things changed in a matter of seconds. The man let go of the chain, and the creature immediately headed towards Jackson. Jackson's too weak and drunk to try and fight him. The deformed man jumped on Jackson and started breaking his bones with his bare hands. He then started tearing off his skin. That was it for us. We couldn't stomach seeing any more since we knew that's what would happen to us as well. I grabbed the laptop and tried to open another tab to try and reach for help, but it wasn't working. The live stream wouldn't go away. The Asian man grabbed the laptop and threw it against the floor, trying to smash it in order to stop seeing those awful images and hearing those heart-wrenching sounds. I had an idea, and I threw the laptop against the window, but nothing would break it. We were so desperate We didn't even know what to do anymore. We were trapped in some sort of twisted live stream. Approximately 20 minutes after they took Jackson away, the big man in Celeste entered our room again and called Kelly, the blonde girl with tattoos. Kelly was hugging Clark, who was trying to protect her, and all of us started screaming, saying we won't let them take her away. The big man took the taser gun out of his pocket and tried to tase Clark, but before he did it, I quickly grabbed the laptop that was on the floor and threw it at his head, completely knocking him out. Celeste tried to reach her taser gun, but the Asian man and I grabbed it away from her and took her keys in order to escape. We opened the door and quickly ran downstairs. However, before we reached the first door, the big man who had taken us to the room tried to stop us. Luckily, we outnumbered him and managed to run away, except for Kelly, who tripped, and the man grabbed her. Once we were on the first floor, we started screaming to the other people to get away, but the music was too loud and we were running out of time before some of the other masked people came towards us, so we just went to the door and left the house. Once outside, however, we didn't know where to go. If we headed towards the road, they would easily get us by the car, but if we headed towards the woods, they could still get us as well. And after all, they probably owned the house and probably knew the local area. Before we managed to go, two of the masked men came out of the house with guns. They shot Clark. The Asian man and I ran towards the woods. We ran as fast as we could as we were being followed by these people, and I kept hearing them shoot, but I didn't even stop to look at anything. And for one moment, I heard something hit my shoulder, but I just kept running. Now, I don't know for how long I ran, but eventually I stopped hearing the shots and the people. And after a long time of running, I stopped just to look around and noticed there didn't seem to be people following me anymore. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to the agent boy either. I decided to head towards the road. I think it took me about 20 minutes or so. I was afraid I'd be caught by them, but I also needed help. Luckily for me, I saw a car coming the opposite direction from where the house was. I stood in front of it trying to make it stop, and it did. People who got out of the car had very familiar faces. Stephanie, her brother, and her dad. I asked them what they were doing there. Stephanie said that thanks to the picture I sent her, she saw the address where I was, and after I never replied back, they decided to come and see if I was okay. They pointed out that I'd been shot in the shoulder, that we needed to get to a hospital. And, well, I don't remember too much after that. I blacked out as soon as I got into the car. When I woke up, the police and everybody else asked me a lot of things, and I told them every single detail, and they seemed absolutely shocked, especially when I told them about the chained man. They told me I had, in fact, been the target of some twisted live stream torture, and that I was very lucky to escape. Unfortunately, when they went to the house, it was completely empty, and they found nothing. No mutated creature, no cameras, no blood, no corpses. However, the next day after Halloween, there were 4 reports of missing people in my city, and 20 other reports of missing people from nearby towns. When I saw the pictures of the other 4 missing people from my city, it was indeed the other 4 who were trapped in the room with me. All these events happened this last Halloween. Technically not supposed to be talking about this, but I somehow feel like I have to. Sometimes we believe in people too easily. We constantly ignore the advice of those who love us just because they don't tell us what we want to hear. You know, as I ignored Grandma's and Stephanie's warnings about Celeste. I don't expect you to believe me. But if you go on the deep web or even the dark web, you might be able to see that live stream. Let me just leave you with this. Please, don't trust people so easily. Because even something so simple as a Halloween party can turn into a bloody nightmare. I work at a small police station in my town. It's pretty slow, so when there's time to kill, I pretend I'm working by going through old files. I just recently had a promotion, so I get access to the more confidential stuff. Usually nothing is that interesting, but I recently found this file in the box about the shooting that happened not too long ago at H&H. The file is named Block. I think my face is changing. Probably shouldn't post, but I need some opinions because it seems too crazy to be true. Title: I think my face is changing, but no one else seems to notice. Thursday, May 13th, 2015, 7:23 p.m. I know puberty and growing up is definitely a thing, but at 25, and this rapidly, it's one of those things where you don't quite notice at first. Kind of like losing weight. The people who see you every day don't notice until it hits them. Then, bam, they bombard you with comments like, "Wow, Elise, you're so thin and beautiful," or "You look great," or even, "What's your secret to looking so fit and healthy?" But no one would ever say that to me. Nah, not when I sit on my ass for 8 hours, Monday through Friday, shoving coffee and donuts down my mouth. People tell me all the time I should be happy that I landed such a good job at such a young age. But there's not much good about this job besides the pay. Enough for me to afford a place I'm not even at half the time because I'm too busy at work. I guess that's just how life is sometimes. It's just that I wish I could do something better. Something that didn't involve staring aimlessly into a computer and typing away for hours on end. Yeah, anything else I think I'd be fine with. Anyway, it started with my chin. I've always had a rather round face, but today I woke up and went to the bathroom. When I looked in the mirror, something looked off. I know they say if you stare at yourself in the mirror too long, it always looks off, but I just glanced for a second. I could definitely tell something was different. I stopped what I was doing and just kept staring at myself. Was it my body? Nah, that looked lumpy as ever. It was definitely my face. I leaned in and stared at myself, running my eyes over each feature until I noticed it. My chin was smaller. I've always had a rather prominent chin, and today it looked as if it shrunken a bit. I needed to get ready for the day, so I just decided to let it go. I got ready and headed to work as usual. I don't really interact with many people. I don't have friends at the office, and I don't have anyone to come home to. Not even a cat or a dog. It gets pretty lonely. Anyway, this is all to say, I didn't expect anyone to come up to me and say, "Oh, Elise, your chin looks so much smaller. Did you have surgery?" No. Everyone else's eyes were glued to the screen, trapped in their own little cubicle prison. I knew I should probably just let it go, but I decided to test my theory. I went up to the guy in the cubicle next to me and asked, "Hey, I accidentally deleted the memo the boss sent. Did it say anything important?" I stared at him straight in the eye. He just looked at me and then looked back at his computer. All he said was, "Not really. She was just praising us on meeting last month's goals." At thanked him and walked back to my cubicle. Maybe it was in my head, and I decided to let it go for the rest of the day. But when I got home, something else hit me. I know, some of you are gonna say it's just in my head, and maybe it is, but I swear, my eyes looked kind of blue. They've always been green, always pure emerald green. And just right now, as I looked into the mirror, they looked kind of blue. I don't know, maybe there's something wrong in my head. Maybe I should go see a doctor. I'm just posting here to see if any of you have experienced something similar. Maybe like a second puberty. I'm just really confused. Any advice would be great. Thanks, Elise. Update 1, Friday, May 14th, 2013, 8:45 p.m. Okay, I was really willing to let it go. I really wanted to believe that some change was taking place, but this is too crazy. My eyes are completely blue. Overnight they turned blue. I spent hours Googling trying to convince myself it was the lighting or my mood or something. But they're completely blue. And I'm pretty scared. I don't know if I'm sick or if there's something wrong. Maybe I have some sort of disease. I don't even know when I tell the doctor. I feel fine, so should I even go? Has anyone else's eyes color changed overnight? Drastic. Like dark green to light blue. I keep blinking and it always looks the same. And now, I'm starting to think my hair looks darker too. Update 2, Saturday, May 23rd, 2015, 12:57 a.m. I'm not me anymore. I'm scared shitless. I went to the doctor. They even looked at my ID and no one said a fucking thing. It's been a week. I've lost 40 pounds. My hair is jet black. My eyes are bright blue. And no one has fucking noticed. I've been going up to random people in the office, asking them things, staring at them straight in the eye. And they always look at me the same way. With the same air of insignificant worthlessness they always throw at me. Is it that no one cares? Is it because no one even knows who I fucking am? Maybe they don't even know my first name. I'm probably just the fat girl who sits in the cubicle in the corner. What about now? I'm thin and beautiful. Will anybody notice me now? Or are all those stupid fucks just going to keep treating me like a worthless pig? Maybe. Maybe I'll kill every single one of those worthless sheep. See if anyone notices their rotting corpses. Update 3, Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015, 5:12 p.m. I saw myself. I swear to God, I saw myself. I was walking in a crowd, and there I was. We locked eyes, and she bolted. I tried to run after myself, but I lost her. God damn it. Ever since this fucking thing happened, I felt so goddamn angry all the time. I'm quitting that worthless job tomorrow. I'm gonna fucking find myself and chain her to a goddamn wall until I get some answers. Update 4, Monday, June 15th, 2015, 11:29 a.m. Have you ever stared into a mirror and not know who you're looking at? Do you know how terrifying it is to look at your reflection and find someone else staring back at you? I've been looking for myself for 2 fucking weeks now. I know she's out there. I won't stop looking. Update 5, Friday, June 19th, 2015, 11:52 p.m. I sat staring at the mirror for hours, looking at this stupid woman, trying to figure out who I was, if I was even a real person. And then it happened. Fucking happened. My reflection blinked back at me, and for a second looked scared, until returning back to normal. I'm not a killer. I swear to God, I'll kill this blue-eyed bitch. Update 6, Sunday, June 21st, 2015, 3:49 a.m. I did it. I fucking grabbed that bitch by the neck and choked her out. You should have seen the look on her face. Update 7, Wednesday, June 24th, 2015, 10:20 a.m. I'm really confused. I woke up somewhere else with a man laying next to me. I figured I might be in the house whose body this belongs to. So, I checked the wallet. Sure enough, my name is Joanna, and I'm 34 years old. Or, I mean, this body's name is Joanna. It sounds familiar for some reason. I sat up on one of the sofas in the room. My husband called me Joe and asked me what was wrong. I told him I was just on my phone. Luckily, I'm able to type this because I remember my password. He asked if I was going to work, and I told him I wasn't feeling well. He said he'd go on to the office without me then. I just want to stay home and try to understand where I am. At least Tom seemed supportive of my decision. Update 8, Tuesday, July 7th, 2015, 5:27 p.m. I just realized I couldn't possibly have known his name was Tom the first day. And yet, it's weird. I know everything now. What to do at my job, who my kids are. It's like when you've read a book and you know all the characters and the plot, but it somehow feels far away. When you start reading it again, everything just clicks. Either way, I feel much happier. Life feels good. I can't remember what I was talking about before. Something about looking different, but I feel like myself now. So I guess I shouldn't worry about it. I'm not even sure why I'm typing on this thing. I'm trying to remember why, but I can't. Just seemed like I should. Well, probably should start dinner for the kids soon. Update 9, Monday, May 20th, 2019, 12:07 a.m. No. This can't be happening. I'm back. Oh my God, I'm back here. No. Update 10, Wednesday, May 21st, 2019, 3:15 p.m. Oh, the sad little fuckers still work here. After 4 fucking years, their lives haven't changed one bit. Fuck this stupid life. I can't even remember my name anymore. No, it's fucking Joanna. It's Joanna. Yeah, that's who I'm looking at, Joe. I'm beautiful Joe. Update 11, Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 1:06 p.m. I looked them all in the eyes. I asked them who I was. I said, "What's my name?" Any of those bitches who got her wrong got their heads blown off. The fuck is Elise? My name is Joe. No one here ever knew who I fucking was. Ruthless pigs. Every single one of them deserved what they got. Next to it, I found this file. Above is the record of the blog posts we believe are related to the mass shooting at H&H Co. On May 24th, 25-year-old female Elise Bishop was arrested after attempting to break into the CEO's house. She claimed that she was Joanna Harley and that it was indeed her house. When confronted about the shooting, she denied any involvement, claiming that she worked at a different office. Later that day, Joanna Harley was also taken in for questioning about the company shooting. However, when passing by Elise Bishop in the hall, Joanna began to appear extremely uncomfortable. When the two locked eyes, they both stood still before fleeing together. Their bodies somehow fused together, creating a gruesome amalgam of limbs and flesh. Their faces combined, creating a large mouth with spaced teeth exposed. The rest is too gruesome to detail. The creature then began to wail violently. They have transported the fused body to a safe facility. There is not much information on Elise Bishop besides this series of blog posts. However, the husband of Joanna Harley, Thomas Harley, does confirm that Joanna's demeanor changed from her typical to anger and irritability around the summer of 2015. He also reports that in the last month of May, she seemed to be experiencing violent mood swings. There were no cameras in the workplace available. The last piece of evidence found was a strange room hidden in the back of Joanna Harley's closet. The room was filled with candles, strange objects, pictures of Elise Bishop, as well as various containers full of blood. There was also a journal found in the room, presumed to be Joanna's. It expressed an extreme desire to be someone else. According to her husband, she did often complain of life being far too overwhelming, and often said that she was willing to try alternative methods to achieve peace. We are unsure how this room relates to the case. We are unsure of who committed the crime. It doesn't say if the case was resolved, so I'm not sure what to think. But now I'm a tad worried because I think my eyes do look a bit dark.
Chân đứng lên đây. Không sao mỏi chân nào. Mở mắt à? Bằng ấm thanh thôi. Vài giờ sau khi nó